They canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my in front of all my people at my agents.
What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of sucking, riding, bending over the desk, nigga, straight up.
I realized that, you know what? This is God's country because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path.
DMX tried to warn us. DMX was speaking out against the industry a long time ago. Check this out.
Test the wrong one in the industry and you will get hurt. I'm not an industry artist. I'm an artist in the industry. So I do what the f I want because nobody can finish me.
That's peace.
The industry wanted, dead or alive, new artists to sell their souls and where they survive. The industry don't give a f about you, but the industry could make a dime without you.
So check this out. DMX had been dropping warnings about Diddy for years, and hardly anybody took him seriously. But one dude who was paying attention? Katt Williams. Katt's been through that same twisted cycle, blacklisted, locked up, called crazy, all for refusing to keep quiet. Both Katt and DMX spilled major tea about how dirty the industry really is behind the scenes. They made it clear, if you don't play their game, they'll try to break you. And now Katt ain't holding back. He's saying what nobody else dares to say out loud. He's connecting the dots. DMX wasn't just battling addiction, he was battling a whole corrupt system, and he saw Diddy as part of it. This wasn't just some beef. DMX knew something deeper was going on. But what exactly did he see that made him step away from it all? What was that moment when he realized Diddy might be playing for the wrong team? It's all starting to make sense now. Let's break it down.
He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, there's 3 other black guys on there. Woo. Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get
there? I told him no. What y'all do?
they got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play they.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executives' dicks, and it's like they.
Now that Diddy's finally getting dragged into the spotlight for stuff way darker than anybody imagined, all those folks who tried to warn us are finally being proven right. The whistleblowers people laughed at, they're getting vindicated, and that includes Katt Williams and DMX. These two had been out here for years, spilling the truth about how shady the industry really is. They tried to expose the puppet masters, the twisted games, the rituals, the exploitation, all of it. But back then, nobody wanted to listen. People acted like they were crazy, bitter, or just off their rocker. Folks joked they were paranoid or too faded to know what they were saying. But look at the situation now. Suddenly, everything DMX and Katt were shouting about doesn't sound so wild anymore. They got labeled as problems in the industry just for refusing to shut up and play along. They wouldn't sell out, and that made them targets. And now, with Diddy's whole public image starting to fall apart, it's becoming real obvious. They weren't ranting, they were dropping facts. An old DMX interview just resurfaced where he called Diddy his artist, word for word. Some people think he was just shading how Diddy ripped off his own talent, not paying folks what they earned. But others, they're not buying that explanation. It sounded like DMX meant exactly what he said, literally. And with all these new allegations spilling out, including claims that Diddy was allegedly forcing himself on his artists behind closed doors, folks are looking back at what DMX said with fresh eyes. Looks like X might have been telling the truth the whole time, and nobody was ready to hear it.
Like, damn. I'm bad,
And this isn't the only thing that DMX talked about. He also talked about how there were people in the industry that basically wanted to take you out to dinner and stuff to get a hold of your music. And you cannot tell me that DMX was not talking about Diddy, because the first thing that I thought of is when 50 Cent said that Diddy asked to take him shopping.
In another wild interview, DMX dropped a bomb. He said Diddy passed on signing him to Bad Boy back in the day because he didn't think X was marketable enough. But the moment Diddy saw how major the deal was that Def Jam offered him, everything changed. Suddenly, Diddy switched up real fast and started chasing DMX, trying to reel him back in. According to Vibe magazine, DMX said Diddy came at him like, "I'll lace your pockets. I'll double what they gave you." Real, desperate moves. But X wasn't buying it. He had a gut feeling something was off. And word is, He'd already heard some sketchy rumors about what really went down behind the scenes at Bad Boy Records. Now, sure, when DMX used that word, saying Diddy owned his artists, some people thought he was just talking about money and control, like Diddy shortchanging Biggie and others. But with all the disturbing stories popping up lately, a lot of folks are wondering, maybe X meant something way more literal, and it didn't stop there. DMX also hinted that some rappers in Diddy's inner circle were doing whatever it took to get signed. We're talking about crossing all kinds of lines for fame. He even said some were bending over for deals. That's how deep it got. One name that popped up, Ja Rule. X and Ja had major beef back in the day, and at one point, DMX said he knew Ja was getting real close with his male stylist.
Certain subjects you gonna touch on this, or just like you just going at him?
About him being a homo, you know he be too, right?
No.
Figured I was styling his clothes. I got the inside information, man. Figured I was styling his clothes for one of them shows. Got him ecstasy that one night and him.
No, dog.
Yeah, Ja Rule was niggas, I'm telling you, dog. Oh my mama. Told me that himself. He said, yeah, I was with Ja, you know what I'm saying? And he was all ecstasy up, so he...
What?
Whoa.
What?
It was crazy. Yeah, man. That shit, they walk around with a bag of them pills, man. Talk about me, you can't be serious. That X is everything. Get it? The X is everything. Hi, me.
Yo, this is a big statement you making here, man. You throw it.
Yeah, man, Ja Rule's nigga, straight up. He's
This is
out there that wants to give your man Ja Rule some X, and he'll you.
Like, too close. DMX wasn't just making noise, he was pulling back the curtain on something way darker than we knew. Back then, DMX wasn't just calling out Diddy. He started going after a bunch of rappers who were playing the industry's dirty game. He exposed how some of them were doing shady favors for label execs, all just to get a little radio play.
Now, you got issues with the industry. What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of sucking, riding, bending over the desk, straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it. Bring it. I don't give a bring it. Bring it. They got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive. It's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now they want you all up under this, sitting at going to dinner with them and like that, and all that favor for a favor shit. I don't get down like that. Look, I give you the music, you give my money.
No morals, just hustle for a check. And we can't forget his legendary track, The Industry. That song was like a blueprint, breaking down how the music business really operates.
The industry, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent, it's about playing the game. The industry, real is dying to get in. The industry, just to find they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry's trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that. But I'm going dress like this and talk with the bat. The industry got your word meaning nothing. The industry, what you heard because he's bluffing. The industry, money, hate, but I dare you to try to take a thing off my plate if you ain't got a strong mind. The industry will break you down, it's a matter of time. The industry, vultures with nothing to feast on. See me, I'm getting my beast on. The industry, stay in the dirt, play in the dirt, test the wrong one in the industry and you will get hurt. I'm not an industry artist, I'm an artist in the industry. Industry, wanted, dead or alive, new artists to sell their souls in the way they survive. The industry don't give a about you, but the industry couldn't make a dime without you.
He didn't hold back, and now, in 2025, his words hit even harder. It's crazy how stuff he warned about 20 years ago is actually happening now, right in front of our eyes. DMX was one of the first to say out loud that some artists were straight up selling out, doing anything for a taste of fame and some quick money. And now, that warning's playing out in real life like a prophecy. But just like Katt Williams, the media came for DMX hard. They dragged him nonstop, painting him like he was dangerous, unstable, or totally off the rails. Every few months, it was a new, troubled rapper headline, Even after he passed in April 2021, they couldn't show him respect. The New York Times ran with that cold headline, DMX, top-selling but troubled rapper, dies at 50. That's how they did him. Yeah, DMX had his issues, run-ins with the law, substance struggles, reckless driving, probation stuff. He owned it all. But here's the difference. Through all of that, there was never any talk of him doing sick things with underage girls or being predatory in any way. Not a single public accusation like that. And in today's industry, where so many artists got skeletons like that in their closet, that fact alone puts DMX in a whole different category. He had flaws, sure, but he wasn't that kind of monster. And that says a lot. While DMX was getting dragged through the mud for his struggles, people like Diddy and other powerful moguls in his circle were out here rumored to be doing way worse behind closed doors. But instead of being held accountable, they were getting awards, building business empires, and praised as symbols of black excellence. It's wild. DMX got crucified in public, but Diddy stayed protected by the very system he helped design. And let's be real, that wasn't just some random imbalance. That was strategy. They protect the ones keeping the dirty secrets, and they crush the ones bold enough to speak out. DMX wouldn't bow down, and neither would Katt Williams. And just like X, Katt paid the price. He kept running into trouble with the law, even after blowing up in comedy and Hollywood. The system never left him alone. One of his earliest run-ins went down in 2009, right outside a Walmart parking lot in Georgia. According to Katt, it was a full-blown setup. Cops pulled up, took some of his stuff, including weapons. But here's the thing, they didn't even charge him with anything. Later, Katt said the whole thing was a witch hunt from the jump.
I did want to ask, the cops, allegedly found some...
Yeah, they always find. I never leave without
my girlfriend.
I'm on the middle of an interview, sir.
Sorry about they found drugs now. That's what it was reported.
Sir, you can look at my paperwork. There was no... Weed is not a...
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's safe for kids to be around guns and stuff like that? I mean, I'm just curious.
How do you keep this kid safe without... They were in a lockbox that the police broke.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm saying, if the police come in and raid my place and break into my gun boxes, you're gonna find guns. But these aren't... Well, I'm not in a gang. What difference does it make?
Now, you were actually stopped for this and let go because you have a license for it,
No,
right?
this is their 9th time coming to my house. The problem was this time they came to my office and took my kids from an office. Not from my house, from an office. So now when I can't have my kids at my office...
That's an issue.
I must be
the
most terrible black dude. Because here's the whole thing. You gonna charge me with child endangerment? After I adopted 7 children and had them for 14 years in this state? Really? You coming after my kids now? Cause it was already a witch hunt. Now you want my babies? Yikes.
Finish up, man. Do you have any resolutions or something you might do different next year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be white next time.
Straight up.
In my next life, I'm Caucasian, and I ain't taking no for an answer. Let me explain something to you. I know it's people doing poorly in this country.
Yeah.
And they shot Trayvon Martin dead for looking kind of like I look.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King and Malcolm X ended up dead for telling the truth. So as a comedian, I don't think it won't happen to me. I think they've thrown me in jail 36 times in 36 months, and I think you've never seen me in a court of law. That means they're effing with me. And today, they crossed the line, because now they took my babies.
All right, man. Well,
Yep.
Katt, we wish you luck, man.
And luck is unnecessary. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you, brother.
He said he was just chillin', minding his business, when suddenly a group of armed men came at him out of nowhere. Katt told Vibe. One of them has a holster and a pocket full of bullets and a pistol. So I tell them, let's step outside. But the second he steps out, boom, there's 6 of them and just him. Then they start calling the sheriff like he's the threat. This is a witch hunt, Katt said. It's getting to the point where I feel like I'm being persecuted because this don't make no sense. And honestly, it really didn't. Just like DMX, Katt was catching heat for being too real, and the system wasn't trying to let that slide. But that whole Georgia incident, that was just the warm-up. After that, Katt Williams started getting arrested left and right. It was like they were hunting him down on purpose. But the worst hit came in December 2012, when cops rolled up and accused Katt of putting his kids in danger after they allegedly found guns and weed at his house. Sounds serious, right? But here's the twist. Those charges ended up being dropped. Katt said straight up it was another setup, another move to try and bring him down and take everything away from him. But the drama didn't stop there. In 2014, Katt got arrested again, this time with Suge Knight, for allegedly snatching a paparazzi's camera. The media tried to spin it like they were just wilding out, attacking random people on the street.
I saw where you and Suge got arrested, right? You and Suge got arrested, is that true?
Alleged.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Like, and
What were we doing?
allegedly it had something to do with like some type of photography, a camera or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm just sure.
Oh.
I'm just saying this is what I read.
Well, I'll
not-
tell you the story,
Yeah,
and
okay.
you tell
Tell me
me,
the story.
then does that change how you frame this?
Okay.
So, we have a meeting with a hologram company, which is going to go into a licensing deal on some holograms. This is in Beverly Hills. So now there's a rodeo, and behind that is an alleyway where you park your vehicles. That's where we are. Suge has brought his son with him who's 5 years old. And before we go into this meeting, Suge's son runs behind the dumpster and urinates. And a lady films his penis out, peeing behind the dumpster. And then says, "Oh, I thought that was Katt's kid." So yeah, that's what happened.
See, man, this is
So
why-
understand, we were
yeah.
facing 20 years,
Yeah.
Suge and I. 20 years for that. And if it wasn't for the fact that this is Beverly Hills and it's all on camera, they had no problem sending us up the river when we couldn't have possibly done what was being said. That lady said that she got jumped on by me.
But Katt wasn't having that narrative. He came forward later and revealed what really went down. He said the paparazzi was trying to film Suge Knight's 5-year-old son. Now that's a whole different story. And while Suge was catching arrest after arrest, the tabloids went full smear campaign mode on Katt. They labeled him an addict, a violent mess, a troubled comedian, just like they did to DMX. Same script, different name, but things take an even darker turn. DMX was always real about the demons he was facing. He talked about it in his music, and even went deep on the Dr. Phil show. He claimed the devil himself came to him. Not once, but 3 different times. That's how heavy his spiritual battle was. One of the most talked about moments came during his appearance on Iyanla, Fix My Life, when he sat down with his son on Oprah's own network. That interview? A complete mess. Iyanla kept poking at him, cutting him off, and talking down to him like he wasn't even human.
Just once since I've done it so much. This is such a major
What
part.
about today?
Please shut the up, man.
No,
I'm talking about. No,
you
listen,
don't
man.
get to
Listen,
talk
man.
to me
I'm
like
not going for
You
this.
don't get. I was talking to Xavier.
Damn, y'all, for real.
I was talking to Xavier. I'm not intimidated
You
by
don't gotta
you.
be intimidated, man. Stop running your mouth.
What about?
I'm not.
It was supposed to be healing, but it felt more like a setup to break him down on national TV. After that chaotic sit-down with Iyanla, DMX said he felt totally played. He claimed he was tricked into opening up about his addiction, even though he'd already been brutally honest about his struggles in interviews and his music. Folks around him warned him not to do another talk show, but he didn't listen. He went ahead and appeared on Dr. Phil anyway. And during that interview, Phil started poking at X's lyrics, especially one track where DMX raps about the ups and downs of fame. The line that stood out, "Mow the grass to see the snakes."
Well, I want to take a look at some of the lyrics from your song.
How about I pick the lyrics?
Who We Be. I think you'll like these lyrics. The hurt, the pain, the dirt, the rain, the jerk, the fame, the work, the game.
I like what you said. Yeah. Did it.
The friends, the foes, the bins, the hoes, these
Studios.
These studios, the shows. Why don't you just read it? I like the way you read.
It comes and it goes. The jealousy, the envy, the phony, the friendly, the one that gave him the slugs, the one that put him in me, the snakes, the grass, too long to see. The lawnmower sitting right next to the tree. It's right there, just mow that grass and you'll see the snakes.
Yeah.
That hit hard. It was his way of saying, cut through the fake stuff so you can see who's really plotting against you. Then the convo took a deeper turn. Dr. Phil brought up DMX's spiritual side, pointing to his track, Lord Give Me a Sign. And DMX, he didn't just talk about it, he spoke the lyrics with so much raw emotion, it gave people chills. He explained how every one of his albums includes a prayer or a moment where he talks directly to God.
You've had, I guess I would call it a gospel song, or certainly
gospel song and a conversation with the Lord on every album.
On every album. Lord, Give Me a Sign. I pulled some of those lyrics out. Tell me what these lyrics are and what they mean.
It's a conversation with the Lord. I really need to talk to you, Lord. It's the last time we talked. The walk has been hard. Now, I know you haven't left me, but I feel like I'm alone. I'm a big boy now, but I'm still not grown. I'm still going through it, pain and the hurt, soaking up trouble like rain in the dirt. And I know only I can stop the pain with just a mention of my Savior's name. In the name of Jesus, devil, I rebuke you for what I go through and trying to make me do what I used to, but all that stops right here. As long as the Lord's in my life, I will have no fear. I will know no pain from the light to the dark. I will know no shame, spit it right from the heart, because it's right from the start that you held me down and ain't nothing they can tell me now. Lord, give me a sign.
That wasn't for show. That was real for him. But then Dr. Phil dropped a heavy question. He asked about the 3 times DMX said he encountered the devil. X didn't flinch. He said those moments were real, and he knew exactly who he was dealing with each time. How? Because of what was being offered.
You've had a song on every album, a conversation with God.
Yes.
You've had
and a prayer.
And I think you've had
3 conversations with the devil.
3 conversations with the devil. Why with the devil?
Well, to make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides. And I was approached, so of course I had a conversation. It doesn't mean I rode with him or believed him. I just was able to recognize him by what he said to me and what he offered me. Say, oh, now I know you are. That's why I stopped talking to him. I've put out 7 albums, but he's only on 3.
DMX said, if you want to truly understand what's going on in this world, you can't just look at the light. You have to recognize the dark too. That wasn't paranoia. That was someone who'd seen too much and lived to talk about it. And believe it or not, this wasn't the first time DMX spoke on this kind of spiritual darkness. Back in 2009, during a jailhouse interview, he said something that left people shook. He claimed the devil lives in Arizona. He talked about how he used to love the sunrises there, but everything flipped after what he described as a chilling encounter with pure evil. He didn't drop any names, but one thing was clear. Whatever happened out there, it was so real, so heavy, that DMX said he'd never go back to Arizona again.
Let me know.
I first came to Arizona, man, and I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country. Because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil in God's country. It's not so much who, it's what, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil, And, it's through all these hardships that I realized that, you know what? This is God's country because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path. And it's by overcoming these obstacles that I realized that this is God's country. Because he helped me get over these obstacles. He helped me get over these hurdles.
Okay, but when you're done here, when you're out of here.
I'm not looking back.
You're not coming back?
No, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back for a show. I'm not coming back for a visit. I'm not even driving through the states. If I'm in a plane and they gotta fly over it, I'm gonna go around.
Ever. Now, here's where it gets deep. For years, fans and insiders have been trying to figure out what X really meant by meeting the devil in Arizona. Some folks think he was being symbolic, talking about crossing paths with the darker side of the music industry, and when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Arizona's been known for years as a quiet hub for private industry retreats, low-key artist getaways, secret meetings, and rehab centers. So it's totally possible DMX found himself surrounded by label execs, lawyers, handlers, even other artists who gave off some real dark energy. If you know how X saw the world, then you know he viewed life like a constant battle between light and dark, spiritual warfare 24/7. So imagine someone like that walking into a room full of suits, offering him a major deal or life-changing contract, but only if he was willing to compromise something, whether it was his beliefs, his morals, or maybe even his soul. That would absolutely feel like meeting the devil face to face for a man like X. And when you look at everything he said about the industry always trying to own or control him, yeah, it all starts to line up real quick. But DMX stood his ground, he resisted, and that ties perfectly into what Katt Williams said during that viral Club Shay Shay interview. At some point, you gotta choose your side. You're either riding with God, or you're rolling with the other one.
These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is? What? Is to act like it didn't happen. They're black dude. Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side.
No in between. So when DMX spoke about meeting the devil in Arizona, maybe it wasn't just a metaphor. Maybe it was a spiritual warning. Or maybe it was code, talking about some powerful industry figure who tried to push him into something he knew wasn't right. Or maybe he was reliving a moment that really shook his soul to the core. Whatever the case, one thing's for sure. Something serious happened out there. And like so much of what X tried to tell us, folks didn't catch on until way later. Now that time's passed and more truths are being exposed, his words hit way different. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think DMX was dropping clues about something bigger going down in the industry? What do you think he meant by that devil in Arizona? And do you see the same patterns between what happened to X and everything Katt Williams has been exposing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what we're uncovering next. See you in the next one.